Hey, successful fam. We know that everyone deserves a place to be successful. That's why all day, May 4th and May 5th, we are hosting our Successful Summit 2026 in Asheville, North Carolina. During this summit, you will experience panelists, keynote speakers, as well as interactive workshops led by yours truly, as well as other brilliant queer entrepreneurs across the country. If you'd like to learn more about our summit, you can find out more on queerandsuccessful.com, and we hope to see you there. Far too often, LGBTQ plus business owners believe they have to choose between authenticity and being successful. Through these real life stories, LGBTQ plus listeners aspiring for success can gain valuable insights to navigate their path to being both queer and successful. Hello, everyone. It is me, Hunter J. McNair, your hostess with the mostest, back again for this week's episode of Queer and Successful. This week, I am joined by my good Judy, my good pal, Christian McGlade. How are you, Christian?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me today, Hunter.
I'm super excited to have you on this call. We were just talking about this before we started recording that you and I met each other a couple years ago at in Houston at the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance conference at the time. And you and I have had the pleasure of following each other on Facebook and getting each other's email campaigns over the last few years. And so I'm excited today to learn a little bit more about you, your life story, where you come from. I know that you have been doing real estate now for the last 6 years. You started it fairly young, right? I think we actually, believe it or not, we actually started around the same age. And you, of course, are with Nick Sadek's Sotheby's International Realty in Sacramento, California, which is also where you're from. Yeah.
In Sacramento by a single mother, and I was really blessed to be born into a great family, and we're really close. And growing up, I was very close with my mom, very close with my family, and I actually went to, believe it or not, Catholic school in Sacramento for 10 years, and I actually had a good experience going to
Okay.
that school. And so I feel blessed with that. And then after high school, I graduated and went to San Diego State. And then after that, I moved to Scottsdale for a year, then came back to Sacramento.
I love it. Let's dive into that because, well, first of all, you didn't tell me before we started that you went to Catholic school. That's interesting.
I did.
My mother, fun fact, was raised Catholic. I was not. I was raised Southern Baptist because that's what my dad was. But yeah, you said you had actually had a good experience with it. So most don't have that. So good for you.
No, I agree. And it was kind of a unique situation because my mom was also gay. She's
Mm-hmm.
lesbian. And so I was one of the few in the school who, had that I knew of a gay family member. So, that was unique in that sense. But I do understand that it was a unique situation as far as it being a good experience for me. A lot of people can't say that. Do I go to that church anymore? Not really. But I was blessed to have those 10 years there.
Love that. Well, let's talk about your childhood a little bit because you did grow up in Sacramento and enlighten me because I'm not as familiar. I mean, we always assume that anything in California is super, open and accepting. I imagine Sacramento is.
For the most part, it is. And I was blessed to be raised in an environment with open and accepting people.
Yeah.
And I don't take that for granted at all. But, there's still things that people struggle. I mean, I was walking across the street to get a bagel across the street from my office on Monday and someone yelled out a slur. So, stuff still happens here. And I've noticed it's, picked up in the last few years. But for the most part, it's a very accepting place to be. And I'm grateful to be here.
Now, when you were growing up, let's take you back to when you were, elementary school, right? What did you want to be when you grew up? Like, did you want to be a pilot? Did you want to be what did you want to be?
I wanted to be everything. I wanted to be a teacher, then I wanted to be a judge, then I wanted to be a chef, which is ironic because now I hate cooking. I wanted to be everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
I
didn't really
wanted to
have.
I didn't know what business.
Well, and then you end up going to, I know you end up going to college for business,
Mm.
right? Talk to me about like why you decided, and you also you left home. You went from, Sacramento, and then you went like 8 hours away to San Diego to college. Why did you decide to study business there?
Well, I felt like I've always had a business mind, and I grew up around certain business leaders in the community who I respected. So I think that had something to do with it. I knew I either wanted to get into financial advising or real estate. So I got my business management degree from San Diego State, and I went into the finance route first, decided it wasn't for me. Then that's when I made the switch to real estate. But I knew I wanted to have an influence on people's lives and kind of help be able to guide them to help better their lives financially, whether it's through real estate or a different realm.
I love that. You're 18, you're deciding to go to business school and leave home, right? And you grew up in Sacramento. So, you're going far away. Was that like a conscious decision to go far away? Did you just like really want to get out, or what did that look like?
That's a tough question because I had close friends and family here and we were tight. So I knew that was going to be hard for me to leave them. But I also didn't see myself staying in Sacramento forever. I didn't think I would ever move back. And I think it took me moving away to really appreciate it before I moved back. But at that time, I knew I wanted to get away and experience something different in my life. I've always loved Southern California. I had some family in San Diego. So I was kind of already familiar with it because I had gone down there a lot growing up. So that's why I chose it. And then San Diego State also had a great business program.
That works. That makes sense, right? Like you knew that it would be, you had some family there, and you knew that obviously they had a good program as well. So we've already kind of alluded to the fact that your mother was a lesbian, or I guess, yeah, your mother was a
Mhm.
lesbian. So, and was she out the entire time you were growing up?
She was.
Okay.
And I didn't know any different. And she actually used a sperm donor to have me. She called Kaiser when she was in her 30s and said, "Hey, I'm gay. How do I have a kid?" They said, "Here's a list of donors." And here I am.
I love that. That's amazing. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
And I always knew that growing up. I can't remember exactly when or how she told me, but I just remember always knowing that. It's not like she waited
Hmm.
until a certain age to tell me.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing though, like you also didn't come out until you were 20 years
Mm.
old. So I know there was, things that happened in that same time period as well that I'm sure we'll kind of get to in a minute. But why do you think that, growing up with a lesbian mother and, living in a relatively, I mean, it's California, right? Why do you think that it was so hard for you and why did you wait to come out so long?
Well, I think I had my own internal issues. I was blessed enough to know everyone around me was accepting. I also really wasn't raised around many gay men. I was raised around a lot of lesbian women, but not really gay men so much. And I didn't really, at the time, want, the flamboyant stereotype. And I didn't want to be just considered the gay friend in life. I just wanted to be someone's friend. I didn't necessarily want that title. And I think it took me really doing some internal digging and some internal work for really me to accept myself.
Yeah. Well, and we say that all the time, right? Like, everyone thinks about like when we come out to the public, right? Like either like
Mhm.
Facebook official or to our parents and stuff like that. But we don't, and we do this a lot on this podcast. We talk about that time that we come out to ourselves, right? Because that process can take a really long time. Do you remember when, I mean, I'm assuming you had the thought about not being the same as everyone else when you were younger, but when did you start accepting it for yourself, you think?
Well, it was pretty immediate. I had a hand accident actually in 2015, and I unfortunately lost a few fingers. And I think I came out of that blessed because a lot worse could have happened. But it also taught me to be true to who I am and don't be so hard on myself. So that's really what prompted me in 2015 to live my true life. And I remember I don't know, I remember the exact evening. My mom was watching some award show and Amy Poehler was talking on the show. And I waited until Amy Poehler was done talking because I knew my mom really liked Amy Poehler and was enjoying it for me to tell her because I had just accepted it myself like 5 minutes before. So Amy Poehler was done. I told my mom, started crying. She gave me a hug and that was that.
Oh, so wait, so like you literally were like, I think this is it. And then like 5 minutes later came out to your mom.
Yeah.
That's wild. Because a lot of us, we come out to ourselves and then we get a boyfriend or we get a girlfriend and then we get, and then we're like, oh gosh, I guess I got to come out now. Like
Yeah.
it's usually like someone like that we're dating that causes us to come out. But for you, it was it was pretty seamless into that transition.
Yeah, it was pretty immediate. And, I was blessed enough to know that everyone in my life would be accepting.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't even imagine, what some people have to go through.
Yeah. And we can talk about this as deep as you'd like to talk about with your accident, but how did that like play into, kind of going through that self journey and figuring that out?
Well, I think it taught me that life is short.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more could have happened in that accident. So I think I came out on top. But it just taught me that life is short and I have to be very true to who I am. The recovery process was actually ironically easier than I thought it was going to be. Up in my freshman year of college, and I was able to finish college on time still. I finished the rest of that semester from home, but it just taught me that I need to live my life and be true to who I am, and I can't keep lying to myself.
Yeah. I love that. So your mom takes it well, because obviously I'm assuming she took it well, right? Okay,
She
good,
did.
good,
Yeah. It
good,
was
good.
just happy that she just wants me to be happy and be who I am.
Yeah, yeah. So you come out to your mom, you're in college at this point. I'm assuming you've come out to your friends, and now you graduate college with a degree in business. And we talked a little bit about you moving to Scottsdale, Arizona for a year, trying to do stock stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
first of all, like how different stocks are than real. I mean, that's a completely different environment between real estate and stocks, right? Or no?
Different.
Yeah. It is
It's
different.
com-
Okay, good.
it was completely different. It was very corporate, and that just wasn't for me. Being in an office 9 to 5 all day, and I still like that I got to help people, but I honestly was kind of bored and just not really that mentally stimulated. And as you know, in real estate, it's something different every day. You learn something new during every transaction. I think I actually was in 10 years or 10 months in Scottsdale total before I moved. And before it hit June or July is when I decided I need to move home before it's a million degrees because I know I don't want to be here that much longer anyway.
Yeah, you went from like, I mean, as many extremes as there are in California, you literally went from like the most extreme you probably could choose, going to Scottsdale where it's 100 and some degrees on a Wednesday, you know?
I, I know. I remember when I moved there, it was August, and I had this studio apartment at the time on the second story, and it was like 110, 112 the day I was moving in, carrying all this stuff up the stairs. And the winters were nice, but the summers were brutal.
Listen, I've been to like Palm Springs and I think I went last time in like October and it was 100 and some degrees. I'm like, what is this? Like, why do people live here?
I know my grandpa actually lived in Palm Springs, and we always had a joke. He'd be like, "Oh, it's only 99. I better take my jacket out."
Oh, that's hilarious. Is he also gay?
No, he's not.
Missed opportunity. I mean, So did you date anyone like after college? Like, like how did your love life look like after you got out of school and started, doing your thing?
My first relationship was actually in 2020. So
What?
yeah, it was actually in 2020. I didn't really have a formal relationship. I went on dates and stuff, but I didn't really have a formal relationship until 2020. And I came out mid-college. Then I moved to Arizona and really didn't. I kind of kept to myself when I was there. And then it was really when I moved back to Sacramento and planted roots. That's really when I started, having more of an interest in having a relationship.
Well, that's sweet. You leave Scottsdale, you come home to Sacramento, you're like, okay, now I've got my roots here. I'm finding love. I'm finding out I'm becoming an adult, and you decide to get into real estate. What was your first year in business like?
My first year, I actually I sat in my prior real estate brokerage at the time, and it was a good learning experience. I made calls to leads, and that's not really how I do it now, but it got me the traction to really learn and get clients. I was able to close, I think, 10 deals in my first year, and just by calling the leads that came in. Then after the first year is really when I decided to make it more of a relationship oriented business through my sphere, which is a complete 180 from how I had done it my first year.
Yeah, I mean, so you were calling like what, for sale by owners, expired, it's like the cold calling thing?
The brokerage at the time
Mm.
provided that I think I don't really know exactly how, that maybe visited the website, and I would call them.
So we make this decision to like, okay, this is not what I like. I want to, totally switch firms. And then you say, I'm going to commit into more relationship based, which makes sense for you because you're from Sacramento. And then did that transition, was it to Sotheby's at that time?
No, so Sotheby's is actually my third brokerage I've been to.
Oh, she gets around.
Yeah, I know.
So, what happened with the second one?
Well, the second one, I mean, I had a great experience there. And that's the second one is really where I started kind of making the turn to really marketing to my sphere. And I think all of the brokerages I've been at were great, and all of my managers have been great. And I learned, amazing things from each one. They really have. I've been blessed
I'm
enough.
like,
I don't know if anyone's, you know what, but it's true. Anyway, so the second one, it was great. That's really where I learned to market to my sphere. But then I really wanted to elevate my business even more, really provide more of the white glove service, which is why I made the jump to Nick Zadig Sotheby's International Realty.
love that. And so now you've been there a couple of years, right?
3 years.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think I met you. You were working there.
I think when you met me, I was actually at my former firm.
Okay, I don't now. I have to like remember what that was. I guess your branding was just good enough that I just imagined this like luxury experience with you.
I made the switch shortly after we met.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay, so I got on that drip campaign. Got it.
you
All right.
did. You did.
So now, like, you move from like, okay, we're first year, we're throwing pasta at the wall to see what sticks, and we know we're like, okay, actually, I want to do more relationship based. You switch firms, you go to a different place, and then almost 3 years ago, you decide to go to Sotheby's. I always say Sotheby's for some reason,
Yeah.
to go to Sotheby's, and I'm imagining you've shifted because of the brand a little bit more into this kind of like luxury kind of branding, or
hmm
yeah. What was that?
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think luxury is a service. I deal with all price points, and to me, I just want to be able to give elevated and white glove service. And I knew Sotheby's, just with the brand, would kind of be able to help me do that. And I think having a mentor is everything. So then I, hired a mentor when I got here. I looked at her and I said, I like the way you do business. I want to learn from you. So I was able to have her be my mentor, and it's just been great ever since.
That. And I know too, like I've seen you're presenting and you can enlighten me more, like all these opportunities that I see you on, in rooms and speaking to people. What are you doing more a lot these days with that?
Well, I'm on a few boards. So I'm on the board of the Sacramento Association of Realtors. Then I'm on the board of the California Association of Realtors. So I do some, a little bit of presenting through that. I've emceed an event for the Sotheby's brand. I'm doing that again next month down in Pasadena. So I feel blessed to have all these opportunities kind of come my way, and not only just to have the opportunities, but to be able to be around the most amazing professionals within the community. I'm on the board for the Sacramento branch of the LGBTQ Real Estate Alliance. I'm the past president for that. And again, just I feel so good that I get to work with the most amazing professionals around me through these organizations, including yourself.
Oh, thank you. What do you think with that? I mean, I see you doing it and I see you, presenting things. What are you most passionate about presenting to people, and like what are they having you speak on? Like what are the things you're doing with that?
So for the MC event that I did, I was the MC. So I wasn't necessarily a presenter for the event, but I was introducing the presenters. I knew some of the people putting the event on, and it was a social media summit on how to grow your business through social media. And I think I'm decent at social media, but not necessarily enough to teach a class to people flying into the event. So
No, you
when
could
they
do
want
it.
well, thank you. But when they wanted me to be a part of it, I said I'd love to, but I'll MC it. And then for the associations, I'm on some committees there that really have to do with protecting private property rights in California. So it's presenting more on that type of stuff for those.
I love that. I love that. Do you see yourself like diving more into that world, or do you see like this is just kind of like your thing? I mean, you wanted to be a teacher amongst the other billion things you wanted to be as a kid, right? So is there a passion for that?
Well, I don't know that I would necessarily be a teacher, but I think what I would like to do down the road is have my own team and be able to help, newer agents and kind of teach them.
I love that. How are you, what are you well, tell me how you're going to do it. I mean, what's the plan, sis? Like, like we've got 2026. So now we're 6 years in the business, and we've landed at a company that kind of fits where we are as both brand, person, and future. So what do you think the next few years, and what does this year look like for you and the next few years look like for you?
This year, I just want to continue expanding my business. Last year was my best year, and a lot of it, my business came from my sphere, friends, people they've referred me to, previous clients, so then also agent to agent. Agent to agent was actually half my business last year. And I got a lot of that, from everyone by throwing client appreciation events and really just showing gratitude because, I mean, you're in the industry, a lot of people out there who pour into our business. And I think it's so important to say thank you, whether that be through or those client appreciation events. Handwritten notes go a long way as well. So that's really how I was able to expand my business previously. And it's not necessarily, when it's agent to agent, it's not necessarily going to them and saying, send me referrals. A lot of it is unexpected actually. And, I like to be able to pour into other people as well. And, I feel like the more you give, the better. And being able to uplift each other is really what makes us all better professionals. I don't
Well,
think I went on a tangent.
no, you're great. No, I think what you're alluding to as well, and kind of all of that conversation when we talk about the white glove service and doing a good job is really just is thinking like value centered, right? Is how we can provide value to our people at a high level, right? How do I provide them white glove service? How do I get in front of other agents and facilitate things and provide them value? I'm all about that too. So
Mhm.
so I totally understand that. And then with you obviously being part of the family, if you may, do you have any focus in that? Like, I know you obviously take part in the Real Estate Alliance as well. And do you do anything with that?
Well, a lot of my clients are within the community just because naturally a lot of my friends are. So a lot of their referrals also are.
In the clear, we
Uh,
all fam, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So they are a large portion of my business, but with the alliance portion, that's been a great opportunity as well to network with other professionals within the community.
Yeah, I've been doing this a little longer. I've been doing this for almost 11 years now. I know I was this tall. That's my running joke because I'm 5'5". But yeah, it's like an interesting, the queer real estate agent community is like the biggest but the smallest community at the same time. Like it's got a lot of us in there, but it's also a pretty intimate group, and I've known a lot of the folks for a long time. Obviously now there's queer and successful, so you got to get into that, sis,
Yes.
and get more involved in that too, because we've obviously got, it's cross brokerage and things like that. From my experience, I don't know how much from my experience of running or being, I guess you could say, the one of the faces of the Rainbow Network for Keller Williams for so long. Does Sotheby's have anything like that?
Sotheby's does have the Pride Network.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as involved in that as I would like to be because I have a conflicting meeting every time they have a meeting, one of my board meetings I'm on, but they do have the Pride Network. And
Yeah.
I have people in it as allies and they love it.
Good. Yeah, it's the agent referral opportunity is really big within our community. So it makes sense that you've dived into that. And I know that for you, like when we talk about things like success, that you define success as creating a legacy for yourself and your family being your Shih Tzu Snickerdoodle. What's your puppy?
Yes.
What's your
Her name is Snickerdoodle, Snickers for short.
It's a Shih Tzu. I thought Snickerdoodle was a dog. See, I'm a cat owner.
No, Snickerdoodle is a dog.
Oh, is it? Okay, but the name is Snickerdoodle?
Hmm. Yeah, the breed is a Shih Tzu and her name is Snickerdoodle.
But a Snickerdoodle is a type of dog, but she's not a Snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle's a candy. If it is a type of
Okay.
dog, I didn't know. At
Listen,
least I Golden Retriever.
I know.
Great.
I think I was mixing it up with like I
Are
don't
you thinking
like what?
are you thinking like a golden doodle or a labradoodle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am because I telling you, I have 3 cats. Like if you want to talk about cat colors and their patterns and which breeds are from where, I am your gal. Okay, but when it comes to dogs, I don't know what that is. So Snickerdoodle's a candy. Should have known that.
It's a cookie, actually. I think it's a cookie. I don't actually eat snickerdoodles, so but I think it's a cookie. I
Okay.
just I never thought I would be a gay walking around with a small dog named Snickerdoodle, but here I am.
How did you get this dog then? Did you not name the dog?
Oh, I'm just not a homebody, but when COVID hit, I woke up one day and decided I want a dog because I was kind of forced to be a homebody.
Yeah.
So I Googled Shih Tzus for sale in Sacramento and found one on the Sacramento Bee, which is our local newspaper, and drove up to Roseville that day, which is about a half hour away, got her, and came home.
Oh, I love that. And then you also found love that year. So that was a big year for you.
Well, yeah, yeah. I'm single at this point, but it was my first year of getting my dog and buying a house and having a relationship and all of that.
I love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
again, we got on a little tangent about puppies. So obviously creating a legacy for yourself and your family is how you define success. What is when we say the word legacy, like I think that means a lot of things for a lot of different people, right? Like for me, like that means for me, like that word means, impacting others so that there's kind of like this ripple effect. Is that kind of a similar, definition for you, or what does that mean for you?
I think that's a really good description. I mean, I want, a family and kids eventually for myself. So being able to provide a stable environment for that, it's not necessarily the cheapest for gay people to have kids, especially if they're going to pass on their genetics. So, just first having the kid and then, creating generational wealth for them, creating not only a legacy for my family, but for the community and the people around me and leaving a positive impact on that. I feel like when I'm older or, I just want people to look back and see that I was able to leave something good for the community, whether it be through my business or volunteerism or anything like that.
I love that. Do you plan to do what your mom did and have a kid by yourself?
I mean, if it came to that, I would, but ideally, I would like to have it with someone.
All right, y'all, you heard it. I'll drop his number in the show notes so
Oh
that
my,
his Hinge account.
that's funny.
Isn't that what kids are using these days? I don't know what kids use these days. Is it Hinge, Tumblr, right?
Bonding on the apps, I have them, but I'm so bad at responding.
I think it's Reddit, right? Reddit's the dating apps. I don't know. That's funny. So, okay, so he's available. We know that. And I love that you want to have kids. And, also for you, I wrote down the message that you really wanted to leave for people. And I want to dive into this a little bit, at least, is that you want to lift each other up and support each other. Where did that come from?
Well, I think when I entered the industry, I had so many people who poured into my business and my life as a whole. And I think if we're coming from the abundance mindset as opposed to the scarcity mindset, there's enough to go around for everyone. I'm an open book as far as business practices. So, I love to be able to help newer agents and kind of, give them advice and kind of show them exactly what I do. So I think being able to lift people up in that sense, that I've had the privilege of having done to myself from other people to help them in business is so important. I feel like the more you give, the more you get. And that's not why I give, but I feel like just naturally that's just the way it goes. Being able to lift people up both personally and professionally, I think is so important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you mentioned earlier that you've had a lot of opportunities and things like naturally come to you, but I think that there's a quote by Zig Ziglar, and I literally need to like look it up because I never remember exactly how it goes. But do you know which one I'm talking about? Maybe or no? Okay, so it's along the lines of saying like if you give unto others, you'll never go without. Is basically the premise of it, right? If you're always thinking about how we can do that, what you're saying, right? Lift each other up, give people opportunities and stuff like that. Those opportunities will also always find you. And so it sounds like because you've led with that, right? All you're doing is getting the energy back that you've kind of put into the universe. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think you have to do it for the right reason. You can't do it with the expectation of getting something back. It has to be for the right reason of actually wanting to help people.
Are you saying there are realtors who have egos?
How'd you know?
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like that's the thing. Sometimes that's the thing. Sometimes you can tell. I mean, you can, right? If someone isn't being genuine and why they're doing the things they want to do, and it's obvious that for you, that's kind of your core. Your core is giving back and supporting each other, and like you said, lifting each other up. Looking forward, do you do any trainings? Queer and Successful does training stuff. I mean, we do a weekly call every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, or it's Eastern, so it'd be early for you. But I mean, I'm sure you get up early, and you could always have
Up
that
at
space.
5:45, 6. Yeah.
Well, see, if I was in California, I could get up at 5:45 or 6 because that's technically the time I get up here, which is like 8:45 or
Oh,
9.
got it. Hey, we can set our own schedule, right?
Yeah, no, actually, I get up earlier than that, but like we're all up at the same time, technically.
Yeah. I have to, like, I'm very strict with my morning routine, and if I don't do the routine, then my whole day is messed up. So I have to get up early and write my affirmations and like do everything.
Look at you. You're doing your affirmations. You're doing your little journaling too.
I don't really journal, but I'll do my affirmations.
Okay, well, you get like a B plus.
Okay, good.
You'll get a
I'll
B.
take it.
You'll get a B plus for that. Yeah, if you ever want to, teach anything in our call or just talk about a topic and stuff, you're happy to do that. I mean, it's I think that it's so important as a community. And I was having a conversation with Richard. I know you know Richard Woods the other day, and how like we're in a time now where just more is more, and we need all the spaces we can, all the opportunities we can to, like you said, lift each other up, support each other, provide space for people to both train and speak and share their stories like we're doing here, and things like that. So it's always nice to find people who are like that. You know what I mean? Is there anything like that we haven't talked about that you are like, this is something that, or if there's one thing you really want to leave listeners with to kind of summarize it, what would it be?
I think in today's day and age, there's so much division. Just be good to each other, be nice to each other, lift each other up, give each other a hug. I think really that's what I want to leave people with today.
Oh, I love that. Okay, you do that. I'll be the mean one, and we'll like tag team
I
it.
know. And you go good cop, bad cop.
Exactly. No, literally, Justin, my husband last night he was like, I have a friend he's like such an angel. And I'm saying this in air quotes. Pam, you know who you are. Because he's secretly like a little conniving man. But I was like, me and him chit chat with each other. And it's always this like, he's like the goody two shoes, and I'm the little like devil or whatever. And I'm like, no, sis, like we all know you're just as shady as any other gay boy out there. But anyway,
He can just put on a good face.
yeah, exactly. He's from the Midwest. That's how he's able to pull it off. There's that Midwest nice kind of BS that they try to think. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. Thank you so much, Christian. And I love your story. I appreciate your time, from growing up, in Sacramento, finding your way, and just now leading with this, like, how do I provide value to the world and to my people? How do I continue to lift other people up and support everyone is a beautiful message to leave people with. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me, Hunter.
Of course, of course. And for everyone listening, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow this podcast, probably where you're listening to it. We also have this showing on YouTube now, so you can watch these videos on YouTube as well. As always, don't forget we have Successful Summit coming up in May of this year in Asheville, North Carolina. So we hope to see you there. Otherwise, I hope you all have a safe, comfortable, and warm rest of your day and your week. Bye, everyone.